All right. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the stage of history. It is I, Uncanny. Let's get it in, y'all. I wanted to talk about healthy and unhealthy fear today, y'all. It's incredibly important to talk about this and to recognize what I'm talking about, right? So, what is healthy fear? What is unhealthy fear, right? And what's the difference between it, okay? Fear is something, let's talk about fear just in general. Fear is something that is an automatic emotion or response inside of our minds that we have. Okay. When we perceive a threat, there is something out there that causes us fear because it is a danger to our well being. That is what the fear is all about. That is what fear in that's why it induces you to feel that particular way, to be scared, right? Now, in this day and age that we've gotten in, y'all, it's gotten out of control. Okay? It's gotten out of control to where people are fearful of things that they really shouldn't be fearful of. Fear should be temporary, temporary and situational, right? Not a phobia, right? Because that's what people don't realize that they're making it is a phobia. When you have a phobia of something, that is a irrational fear of something, unless it's a super great perceived threat, right? Unless it's something that is actually out there trying to come get you, to harm you, or something that is going to harm your existence, right? But outside of that, we got things like um let's just say you got a fear of tripping and falling on the concrete. Now, this can get to a point where it is way past rational. Okay? You're not going to trip over a bunch of stuff all the time, every single day you go out. So if you hold that in your mind, if you hold that inside of your mind and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall. Every time I go out, I fall, or every time I go out, I might trip on something. I gotta watch where I'm walking. That's where it's unhealthy. Okay. That's where it's unhealthy because, yes, do we trip sometimes and stuff like that? Sure. But if you are holding a phobia of falling inside of your mind, you are damaging yourself. Like literally damaging yourself. You're literally making yourself sick. You're making yourself scared. You're making yourself anxious over things that you don't have to be anxious over. Right now, that's just a small little example of something that could be outlandish, but let's bring it home, right? People that have kids, or people that have kids, or you got nieces and nephews, or cousins, little cousins, whatever the case may be, as you're watching them, right? And they're doing semi dangerous things, okay? It is for you to have a reasonable caution, right? A reasonable caution of protecting that child, or wanting to protect that child. But having a fear that they're going to split their skull open, or they're going to fall over, or they're going to do something to really damage themselves can be a unhealthy fear. And here's why. Because when you activate that mental space, when you activate fear inside of your mind, you're emanating a frequency. Okay? This is what happens when two people think the same thing, or they respond the same way, or they do the same gestures. You've probably seen like funny videos of people saying we're in a simulation, and some people will do the same exact movement in basketball games, or they'll show clips of people doing the same thing. That's only because we get tuned into each other. That's why that occurs, is because our brains hold a particular frequency, y'all. You have to understand this. It's just like Wi-Fi. We have our that's how we came up with it. We only come up with these things based off of what God has already created. That's the only way we're able to create things, is replicating God's process, right? I've said this multiple times before. The bird, the plane, right? The boat, they was watching fish, okay? The submarine, for example. The only way we're able to replicate these things is through God's creation, right? So if we created this thing called Wi-Fi, this thing called Bluetooth, right? We created these things. Where do you think that came from? Where do you think that came from? You really think that we literally just came up with something out of nowhere? Or is there already a universal law in the world that God has placed here for us to utilize? That's what this is about, okay? So what happens is our brains connect, and what you can do as a more sophisticated, intelligent, grown-up individual, you can influence through your mind, through that frequency, that child. Do you understand that? We are just starting to begin to understand this scientifically. We're barely scratching the surface on this type of stuff. And it's important to really understand. This is why they say, don't say, crazy things to your kid, like, oh, you're stupid and this, that, and the other. Why? Because those words, that vibration, the frequency of the feeling that you are transferring to that child is damaging. How is it damaging? We know this through what I've shown multiple times, the IKEA commercial. We are plants. We grow just like plants. Sunlight, water, food, we need those things. And if you speak to someone over negatively for an extended period of time, consistently, that is going to demoralize that individual, right? This is why we do anti-bullying. This is why all of those things that we have in place to stop people from the hate messaging and all of that stuff is because it's real. It's effective. Okay? So how this all ties into fear is, do not project fearful things that you may perceive as a fear onto others, right? So we're taking it into the kid perspective. What will happen, because they're just learning, they're just absorbing everything around them, they're just perceiving life as it is. So if we project the anxiety, the fear, the scariness, they're going to adopt that, and that's going to be their paradigm for the future, which is why it's so important. So it's unhealthy to do that. Why? Because I would say, and don't quote me on this percentage, but it's gotta be like 90%. I mean, I watch my kids a lot. It's gotta be like 90% of the time they're not going to harm themselves. And when they do, they learn from that right away. I have seen this. I have seen this in my son growing up, and now I'm watching my daughter go through the exact same process. Okay, the exact same process. She now, when I place her on the bed, doesn't try to jump off of it. She'll get real close, right? But I'll sit there and watch her. She ain't moving off of it, because she now knows, after having fallen maybe a couple times, that, oh no, I'm not ready for that. So there doesn't have to be this overbearing fear of back up from that, don't do that. And here's why. And this is just for you guys to really think about and to try and test these things out in your life, right? Because I'm a scientist, man. And you with being a scientist, you gotta be a measure of risky. You gotta risk certain things sometimes, right? To see what's gonna happen. People probably think I'm crazy sometimes because of some of the different things that I've risked. Because I'm like, I have so much faith in the human capability. That's what allows me to be able to do that. Because I'm like, dude, we're way more sophisticated, way more intelligent than we actually believe now. We're being told all this stuff in the media and the news. You only use 10%, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, 10% of your potential. 10% of your potential. That's how much you use of your potential, not actual brain power. We always use all of our brain. We just, but, well, let me rephrase that. We have the capacity to use all of our brain. I don't believe that we use all of it all the time, though, because it's just like the different muscles that we have on our body. I'm out here with my boy John, and we are doing workouts and we working stuff out that I'm like, yo, I ain't touched that yet. The front part of your shin, the hamstring, the bottom part of the glutes. Like, I'm like, yo, I ain't been doing none of these movements, bro. This is great. Like, okay. And with that being said, when you activate them, what happens? It gets sore. It becomes a muscle. But not to go too far off, the fear that goes along with not allowing your children or your nieces, nephews, uncle, whatever, to kind of be a little dangerous. You got to let them be a little dangerous, right? And that's the same thing for you. You got to be a little dangerous. You got to be a little dangerous. Go in a little bit into that fear. Dive a little bit into it to see what it's about. Yeah, you may fall. You may fail, whatever. Is it going to be, what you really need to know is it going to affect your life? Is it going to, and not affect your life as in, if I, make this choice, am I going to, be successful or whatever the case may be? Not that type of effect. I'm saying, is it going to kill you? Is it going to literally cut you? Is it going to do something is it going to punch you in the face? Like, that type of fear and danger is real, and that should be put in its proper place. But as far as like, oh man, I'm scared to get up and talk in front of people. It's like, if you fail, you look silly. There's nothing that's gonna come from that besides growth. That's the only thing that's gonna come from that is growth, right? I come on here all the time, and I've talked in front of crowds before and stuff like that. I go in front of the big speak off. I totally go blank. It's this, I went and did this, what is it called? A competition, motivational speaker competition. And because of the information I was getting, made me realize I was inadequately prepared for what it was. Because there was a 2-day notice. I got a notification, hey, you can go to this place. I went to the spot. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just do what I do. I'm gonna come on here. I'm gonna do what I do. Right. I'm thinking I'm just gonna pick a topic and say something. When I get there, they're like, oh, you gotta do this and you gotta have this story and don't talk about yourself. And they had all these rules and parameters. And I'm like, dang, I ain't even really prepared for this, but oh well, let's do it. Right. So I get up, I go in front of the dude, I kind of freeze up because I'm like, well, what am I supposed to say? I had a little bit of a script, but it was off. What happened from that? Growth, right? Because I'm like, oh, now I need to know that when it's time, I need to have me a 60-second pitch real quick, right? So I've been working on that, and that creates growth. So don't have the unhealthy fear of, oh no, I'll never go up and talk in front of nobody. No, that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy because you ain't gonna die, you ain't gonna pass out, nothing's gonna happen to you, right? And knowing that should allow you to test the waters on it, to see what's up. The only thing you have that's probably gonna happen is embarrassment, a little embarrassment. But what is that gonna do at the end of the day? What is that really gonna do at the end of the day? And that's what you want to really consider, y'all. And so that's what I wanted to drive home today, y'all. Do not have unhealthy fear. Let's recap some of that, right? The allow your child to be a little dangerous, allow that kid to be a little dangerous, see what's going to happen, see how much they know, be ready, be cautious, but don't have an unhealthy fear of not allowing them to kind of test the waters out, to kind of stretch their brain and see what's really happening, right? Or I'll never get up and speak in front of people. I'll never get up at my job and volunteer to speak, and I'll never be the one to do this, that. Man, you got one life. Okay, you got one life and you're living it, so live it. Test things out. It's the old school Magic School Bus, man. What Miss Frizzle say? Take chances, make mistakes, and get messy, man. That's real. That is real. That's what we need to do. That's how all of this stuff comes about. You think this microphone was created from somebody creating, oh yeah, I got it right out the gate, I'm good? No. No, there was a lot of trial and error. That's how we grow. That's how we learn, y'all. So don't have unhealthy fear to where it hinders your growth, because that's important. So y'all already know, mindset matters more than anything else, man. All right, that's all I got for y'all today. All right, thank you for the ones that were able to jump on. If you're watching this later, thank you for watching this. You know what I mean? Like, subscribe, share this video with some scary people that you want to be like, look, listen to this dude, because he telling you what you need to do. No, I'm just kidding. But share this video with somebody if you think they'll benefit from it. Okay. Again, subscribe, follow me on all of these platforms, y'all. It's going up, man. It's going up, and it's gonna continue to go up. It might be a little, but it's going up. Okay, it's going up. All right. Love you guys. Remember, focus on the good. Focus on the good. All right. Focus on the good, because the negative's always gonna be there. It's always gonna show up. You ain't gotta focus on that, because it's gonna happen. Okay, so focus on the good, because that's the hard thing to do. Okay, focus on the good. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the week. I'll see y'all Thursday. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna be going live on TikTok. Well, I'll set that up for next Monday, so I'm gonna set that up right after this. But I will see you guys next time, anytime.